afternoon. Every day I drive down Broadway with my daughters. A little after 8 a.m. taking them to school.
That's right, man, we talked about it.
And they always make it a point to tell me, Daddy, what is wrong with him or what is wrong with her? And it's hard to explain to a 9 and a 7-year-old what is happening in their city, on that street, on their way to school. And what I often tell them is that those are individuals who need help. And they need our help. And we're here to help. That's why we're launching Operation All In. Because that's what we are, all out. We're all in and we're all out. And this is not a simple solution. In fact, if it was, it would have been resolved long before we took office, or our officer in charge came in. But now we have different departments, and resources within those departments, and a lot of it came through grant funding that we want to utilize to help those individuals on Broadway who are in need. And I think about the complexity of the situation, because like Director Speziano and I say often, you can't police your problems away. You're going to need a multifaceted approach. And that's why we're launching Operation All In, because that's what we are. So at this time, I want to hear from our Corporation Counsel, whose timing is impeccable, to elaborate a little further about Operation All In, especially on Broadway. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, department heads. Thank you, City of Paterson, for being here and contributing to moving this city forward. As the mayor probably discussed, this operation is an operation in which the city will be taking back Broadway through a very targeted and thoughtful way. The thoughtful deployment of police resources, as well as the deployment of resources from the department heads. And I'm just going to go over a few things that we've done and that we'll continue to do to move this initiative forward. In the law department, we've worked with economic development to revamp our vacant and abandoned properties law in this city, and that's had the effect of making owners of these properties register and take care of their properties, which will help reduce the look of abandoned properties in this city, as well as give crime a place to occur. We've worked with the council to update our noise ordinance, which will, again, permit our police officers to go and deal with the issue of noise. It's one of the biggest complaints that the police receive, and usually when there are noise complaints, there are other attendant issues that occur as well. We've worked with DPW, Director Rodriguez, hand in hand with Councilwoman Cotton, to institute a program where we're fencing properties that are known locations where people are dumping. I think a prime example of that is on Summer Street. We're also working to impose additional legislation. For example, dealing with the park and how late the park stays open, because we've received a tremendous amount of complaints, OIC, about the park and issues that are going on in the park at dark. And so we'll be amending our code to ensure that the park closes at an appropriate time. And one of the most important things that I can stress here is, as a supplement to what public safety is doing, to what DPW is doing, to what Health and Human Services is doing, to what Ed Bosey is doing, the fire department, Director Rodriguez, OIC Abassi, is our coming community court program. We recognize here in this community that we can't police our way out of every problem. And so with the community court that we hope to be unveiling soon, it's been a priority for me, it's a priority for the mayor. Our residents will have a place to go where they can have their driving privileges restored without having to be arrested. They can come to the community court and be provided resources, drug treatment, and other things that has been shown to reduce recidivism and allow the police to really focus their energy on what needs to be done. So with that being said, the law department looks forward to continuing to carry out the mandate of the mayor, this administration, the council, and will continue to support OIC Abassi and the great work that he's doing in ensuring that his efforts are successful and are maintained throughout. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Corporation Counsel. Thank you. Officer in charge, Issa Abbasi, comes to us by way of the NYPD, where he was the chief of strategic initiatives. One thing he really specialized was CompStat. So in the future, we'll be making an announcement on how we will be implementing a first-rate CompStat model that will not only rival New York's, probably exceed or eclipse, I should say, their CompStat model. That's right. And personalizing it or customizing it to a PatStat model, which we'll elaborate at another press conference. But we're really encouraged by the fact that we're collaborating, that part of this partnership is to make sure that we focus on these areas, specifically Broadway, where we have been focused on, but now we can be fully focused with all of these individuals on board and ready to help with resources that are needed. So at this time, I'd like to hear from our officer in charge, Issa Abbasi.
Good afternoon. I just want to first thank the mayor for his leadership, the members of the administration, everybody assembled here. True partnership, right? So the question is, what does the next generation of public safety look like in Paterson, New Jersey? And the answer is in front of you, right? It's true collaboration. Not only city partners, but state entities, the members of the public, members of the community. Creative use of our resources, but making sure that we're all moving in the same direction with clear objectives and a clear mission. What you'll see on Broadway today is a significant investment in resources by the Paterson Police Department, supported by the state, by the Attorney General, by the Mayor, by DPW, along with service providers. This is not militarization of the city, it's quite the opposite. The police are there for one simple reason: preserve the peace and make sure that members of the public and members of the community feel safe and comfortable walking to the library, walking to the store, walking down the street. The other service providers are there to make sure that sanitation issues are met, lighting is bright and clear, business owners have their properties secured, and service providers are connecting those in need to resources. Right? We need to find areas of the city through a concept that we call neighborhood revitalization that are resource deprived and bring resources in to serve that population. And that's exactly what we see today, exemplified by the Broadway initiative under the leadership of this mayor and this team. And I think as we look forward, Paterson has a bright future ahead.
Absolutely. Thank you. Very often the term is partner in crime. He's a partner in progress, in Paterson's progress, and in this specific situation, Broadway, and the success, not only for the business owners who are buoyant about this operation, but also, quite frankly, those people who have been struggling for too long. That's correct. And someone who knows all too well, because prior to being our public safety director, he was our Passaic County Sheriff, and that is Jerry Speziato.
Thank you. This has been an outstanding opportunity for me personally. I come from the New York City Police Department, as many of you know. Chief Abbasi has taught me many things about the next generation or the future of precision-based data policing. I mean, that is really something that is working well here in the city of Paterson. The ideas, the deployment, the resources, everything is coming together and it is working. I tell you, I see it, I follow it, I read it, and Chief, I truly respect you, and it's been an outstanding opportunity. And this is going to transcend to everyone in the city of Paterson so that we have a safer city, absent noise, absent problems, absent quality of life, absent violent crime, and that's really what the goal is. And also, to extend our hand and reach out and help people. That's what's happening today on Broadway. I'm not chasing after people. This is to get people the help and the services that are needed so they don't continue to be chronic problems in the community. So my hat goes off to you. I'm proud to be a partner in this. I stand shoulder to shoulder with each and every one of you because I know we all care together and we all care about Paterson. So thank you very much for this.
I mentioned earlier that the long-standing challenge on Broadway stems from individuals who are suffering from opioid use disorder. And it is not a quick fix.
No.
And administering Narcan, which we've done for a significant amount of time, is not the real fix. But we have our Chief Innovation Officer, Ed Bosey, who entered the Mayor's Global Challenge that was issued by then, or should I say former, New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg. And we won $1 million to innovate, or should I say implement an innovative idea to help those who are struggling with opioid use disorder. And a number of them are on Broadway. So at this time, to elaborate further on our Real Fix initiative is our Chief Innovation Officer, Ed Bosey.
This is going to be short. People addicted to opioids fear withdrawal more than death.
Yes.
Fear of withdrawal is the reason why this opioid epidemic persists. It's the hot ember that keeps this epidemic burning. But not anymore. You no longer need this. You no longer need illicit opioids to counteract withdrawal. Now through 833 Real Fix, you can get Suboxone, and you can get it fast before you go into withdrawal. Anyone in Paterson can call 833 Real Fix, and we'll connect you with a doctor by phone. You'll have a 20 to 30 minute appointment over the phone, and then you can go to the pharmacy and pick up your medication or have it delivered to you. And then lastly, we'll offer you connection with a behavioral health treatment provider. And if you don't have insurance or you want to go inpatient, you should still call 833 Real Fix. We have fast solutions for you. So there's no reason for this epidemic to persist. And that number again is 833 Real Fix or 833-732-5349. So look forward to that. Hearing from those with the
Thank you, Ed.
And Ed is often fond of saying, and Jay, you'll appreciate this, that the drug dealers are really proficient when it comes to customer service.
Yeah.
We need to be better, and we feel as if Real Fix will give us an advantage on these drug dealers and actually save lives as a result of this initiative. I want to hear from our fire chief, who knows a little bit about saving lives. As a matter of fact, when our fire department was featured on the show on A&E Live Rescue, in one episode they administered Narcan 12 times. And we are not the only city that was featured a fire department. And so here to elaborate a little further on the opioid response team, which is buttressing or being buttressed by the Real Fix initiative, is America's Fire Chief Brian McDermott.
Yes.
Thanks everybody for being here today. So some words really come to mind here: collaboration, caring, partnership. We're out here trying to do our best to help people that are in need. I can tell you since 1995, this area in question for Broadway, in my personal experience, has been the epicenter for drug use, opioid use disorder, where people are dying in the streets, shootings, stabbings, domestic violences, some of the worst things you could think of. Right in this area is the epicenter. They need some care. They've been forgotten about. Now, with this focus of this collaborative team, we get to start in this area, and this is only where it starts, to start here and spread out and actually help people out. Right now, the opioid response team that consists of a police officer, a firefighter EMT, and a social worker have been out there on the regular. 3 days a week, we've done over 2,000 interactions, and we're going to continue that. With what we're doing here, that's going to be exacerbated in just this really wonderful partnership and a collaborative effort between everybody you see here. I'm excited to see this because over these years, I can think of multiple faces that were dead right in front of me. And now it's great to see that we're putting this to work. We're putting this group to work to actually impact this much more deeply. We're also, through the fire department, we'll see a very focused effort on the area in question with fire prevention, where we're going to help making sure that the doors on the outside close with automatic door closers, so criminals don't have a place to go, a place of refuge. So these open doors on the front stoops that are prevalent all across Broadway, where the drugs are tucked in and hid. And I've seen that. This comes from my experiences throughout the years. So we're going to do our part to work in our collaborative effort on this great day where we start from here and we build. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mayor, for your vision. And thank you, everybody, for your willingness to work together.
I know I say this on behalf behalf of the 160,000 residents here in the city of Paterson, we really appreciate your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you.
This time to elaborate a little further on the social services aspect of this initiative, Operation All In, is our Director of Health and Human Services, Joel D. Ramirez.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and Officer in Charge Abbasi for bringing us to the table to make this a reality. This is something that many departments have been trying to do for a while, but finally we're going to be able to do this on a continuous basis to get the help for these individuals that we all, like the Mayor said, we see every day. So the Department of Health and Human Services stands ready to support this initiative. This morning, our social workers were out there with the police and some other social service agencies already providing assistance. As you all know, we do have DHHS social workers that are hospital-based through our ORT program. These social workers are going to start being deployed for this initiative all summer long and hopefully beyond that point. They will be accompanied by additional support from our county partners who we've already enlisted, as well as some other nonprofit agencies that do behavioral health and other social service programming. From our office, we are also going to expand our services to these individuals who are encountered in the Broadway corridor for municipal ID services, where we will waive the fees for the municipal IDs, as well as we will waive the fees for birth certificates if they were born in Paterson. If they were not born in Paterson, we will connect with a social service agency or their local board of social services to help them get those documents. Not having an ID is one of the largest barriers for individuals to obtain other social programs. So we're going to make sure that we eliminate those barriers by being out there with this initiative and by then supporting them through our offices and through our partners. So again, thank you for making us part of this initiative. We are all in. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Before we get to our final speaker, I do want to acknowledge our business administrator, Kathleen M. Long, who's a part of Operation All In, and our Director of Community Development, Barbara McClellan. Thank you. So finally, we want to hear from Public Works. And what role does DPW play? Well, DPW definitely plays a role. We believe in the SEPTED model, crime prevention through environmental design. And there are measures that we've taken through the Department of Public Works that'll help us improve Broadway once and for all. And I'd like to hear from our Director of DPW. I was going to call you Brian Dable. Sorry, Billy Rodriguez. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Every Pattersonian deserves a clean and safe place to work, play, and live. DPW's part in this initiative is to make sure that the Broadway corridor is clean. What we started with is painting our curbs from Straight Street all the way up to East 18th Street. We're also going to educate and enforce recycling, garbage standards, parking rules, anything that falls under the DPW code lines. We'll be enforcing and educating the whole public. We still need the Pattersonians to use the Patterson Plus app. Whatever we miss, we would like your input for you guys to let us know so that we can jump on it as soon as possible. Paterson Public Works is here to help any initiative that Paterson needs to make sure our city is moving in the right direction. Thank you.
And for your edification, I think Joe Maliconico's getting some steps on his Fitbit. So, if he has one. The operation, he doesn't have it, I know. Yes, oh, I heard that. Somebody said it's on your ankle. I won't tell you who, because then there'll be an article tomorrow. Anyway, so Operation All In was launched in earnest this morning, and I'm proud to present to the public that there were no incidents. In fact, it was just the opposite. Business owners received this with open arms, the helping hands that we're able to provide. And I'm told that at least 2 people that opted in for immediate treatment. Now, it may not seem like a large number, but we're just getting started with this operation. And it is about taking back Broadway, but it's actually about taking action with compassion for people in need. And we're here to help. Thank you for joining us.
Nice.
Big out. I knew it. We're chomping at the bit.
Questions for you. So, in light of the new summer strategy that was just announced by the AG's office, I see a heavy focus here on bringing in other agencies to to address social services. That seems to run counter to the release that I just got from the AG's office on this summer strategy, which seems very police intensive in terms of addressing issues at social clubs and other hot spots during the summer between Memorial and Labor Day. Do these two initiatives seem to run counter? One is focusing on the local level on social services and all of these different departments versus a very traditional police-intensive effort.
Yeah, this is a concentrated effort on Broadway because, like I stated before, I drive down every day, others drive down every day, and so what is needed is not just the police on Broadway. We need Health and Human Services, we need the fire department, public works, and the police. So it doesn't run counter to anything.
So
this is just
on the AG initiative.
Well, look, as part of our partnership, we are focused on driving down crime and improving our relationship between the police and the public. And we believe that this objective or this initiative will help us reach that objective. And if OIC and Abbasi would like to elaborate further.
Sure, I think it's important to clarify one thing, right? To separate this police department as an AG initiative from its city, I think is a mischaracterization and unfair. This police department belongs to this city. I think, under the mayor's leadership, he's demanded from all of the city agencies, the Paterson Police Department inclusive, to make sure that we have an effective summer strategy. The police department summer strategy includes all those bullet points, right, that were released through the police department, but this Broadway initiative, this wall fits exactly under that. Where does it fit? Under the neighborhood revitalization program. This is neighborhood revitalization in action. Identifying through citizen complaints, through quality of life issues, through documented data, areas of the city that require a multi-agency focus, and in this case, team-led operation to improve quality of life for Pattersonians. It is absolutely hand in glove with the mayor's initiative and with that press release that came from my office through the AG.
May I follow up?
Yes.
So I've spoken with a couple of community advocates, a couple of relatives and families involved in fatal police encounters. What I hear from them is the question of what is your response to them when they say we need more non-police alternative responders, more violence interrupters, more funding for those efforts as opposed to nearly $1 million for what's going into the summer strategy with more police officers and utilization of off-duty officers in different deployments.
I'm glad you asked that. I agree wholeheartedly, which is why we're out there with partners. Our role there is to simply make people feel safe and keep the peace. You'll also see in our summer strategy that not only do we agree with violence interruption and victim services, but we're encouraging the expansion of and advocating for funding, advocating for community groups to go out there and do exactly that, right? This credible messaging throughout the city to reduce violence and harm.
How much of that funding goes into those initiatives that you just mentioned?
So, I don't fund violence.
No, I understand.
So that's a question I don't have an answer to and a question for another day. However, we very much believe in that work. So I will also touch on the fact that, you mentioned that you spoke to a couple of people and these are their concerns, and I share those concerns. I've spoken to hundreds, if not thousands, of Pattersonians whose concerns are the exact conditions we're addressing today on the board. Thank you.
And Jay, just to dovetail on what OIC and Abbasi was talking about, there is federal funding that we supported through Congressman Pascal's office that goes towards violence interruption. We made that announcement earlier this year, so without Patterson's support, that probably wouldn't have been made possible. But for any advocate that you interacted with, encourage them to reach out to Ed Mosey or to our opioid response team if they want to be part of the progress that we're looking to make with helping individuals who've been struggling for far too long. Because we're not saying that this is the ultimate answer, or should I say solution to all our problems, but we want them to be a part of the solution that we are presenting at this point. Chief McDermott is data-driven. We've presented that information to Joe Malaconic, and we'll be more than happy to give you, Jay, the information relative to what the opioid response team has done, primarily in that Broadway corridor.
What I just saw on Broadway a little while ago, is that part of this?
Yes, it is. I hope you got footage.
No, I didn't know.
All right.
In hindsight, talking about
Yeah. Any other questions?
When is the ComStat coming on board?
So we haven't scheduled a date yet, but we are working on it because we want to roll it out right. And we have set the bar high. If we're saying that we are going to surpass what New York does, then we've got to make sure that it is the best ComStat model that we can collaborate on.
2023?
Yes, yes. And we're going to customize it, spoiler alert, I think I said it earlier, to PatStat, which will be a different focus. ComStat will more be like an internal process, where PatStat would be an external process. And for those of you who watch city council meetings, we're hoping that they don't go 9 hours and 14 minutes anymore, and that this PatStat public-facing component will help alleviate some of the burden that we have to endure during the public portion, and they can come to us. Thank you everyone for joining us. Jay Dow.